Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and welcome to episode 10 of my Warframe from Zero playthrough, where we play from zero through the star chart again for the bajillionth time, but this time I'm doing it just for fun because, yeah, and also to teach you guys a few things along the way. But, yeah, this is like, what, my third or fourth sit down on this account. I don't know, I've been having fun. Like, I get these moments where I just do want to sit down and play in this account. Like, I love Warframe. I think it's an extremely addicting, smooth game to play. But for context, we are currently going around and scanning the Cephalon fragments, the worst ever junction within, or junction requirement within Warframe. This one sucks. It sucks the big, grapes. There we go, yep. Sucks huge grapes, my dude. Huge grapes. Why did it take me so long to think of grapes? I don't know, but we will roll with it. But the topic that I wanted to cover in today's From Zero episode, just in case there's any of the hashtag veterans out there watching while we do this worst junction requirement in the game ever. How do you fix endgame in Warframe? That's like a comment that I see appearing a lot on Warframe forums, Warframe Reddit, even my fucking comment section. Like, people want to know my take on it, but how do you fix Warframe endgame? You can't. You literally can't. And I know I'm going the wrong way. I'm looking for this stupid Cephalon fragment. You literally can't do it because the scaling in Warframe is so broken, and for them to go back and change the scaling would be absolute stupidity, because then we will end up with, you know, extremely broken, unbalanced systems within the game, and probably new bugs and new metas. And I mean, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing, having new metas and whatnot, but there's a lot of shit that they would have to fix if they wanted to rebalance the game, so to speak. And I don't think that that would be worth DE's development time. Like, they already have a pretty in-depth game on their hands right now, and I would say that they should treat, you know, the damage structure and the scaling of Warframe as a learning experience for future games, rather than worrying too much about, you know, how it acts in Warframe, because there's so much information out there on how different damage types and whatnot work within Warframe that I think it would be a little bit ridiculous to change up how damage and whatnot works, or scaling or whatever. Oh, there's a big hole I could maybe jump in and maybe find a Cephalon fragment. I've never been here before. Oh, it just leads down here. Interesting. But I think it would be a little bit ridiculous of them. They did have proposed changes for, what's it called? Was it damage 2.5 they called it? That was the thing, and everybody hated the changes that they put forward. Now, I can't remember what those changes were off the top of my head, but I do remember them to be a little bit So, I don't know, like, they're stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Like, they can either go out of their way and change up how damage works in this game, which could take up insane amounts of time, or they can just stick to the system that they have now, where we have a lot of guides out there, you know, wikis, videos, etc., which are already teaching players all this stuff, and then maybe teach players about the stuff on their own, you know, like making proper tutorials in their game that the player is forced to play, type of thing. They could do that, or they probably won't do that. I know that they're reworking the new player experience this year sometime, but at this point with DE, it's like, I'm very much like, I will believe it when I see it type of guy. You know, it's like, all right, sure, you showed that off in dev stream, but when's it gonna be in the game? You know, like, when it's in the game, that's when I'll care about it. You know, that's very much the mentality that I have towards this game now, because there has been an insane amount of times where they say one thing on dev stream, and then, you know, maybe a year later they mention it again, and it's like, oh, okay, well, that thing that you mentioned 1 year ago, it still isn't in the game, and I didn't know I could get up there. Still isn't in the game, and you're bringing it up now because you've maybe thought of a different way to work on it or iterate on it or something like that, you know? So I don't really take what they say on dev streams super seriously anymore. I'm just very much so wait until it's in the game and then we can talk about it and then we can judge it, or at least until it has like a confirmed release or whatever. I think probably some of the dumbest questions I get is, what do you think of insert X new Warframe that isn't released here? It's like, I don't know what I think of that frame because they're not out yet, you know? It's like, what, you want me to judge the aesthetic? Yeah, every single Warframe looks cool in their own unique fashion, right? So maybe there's a few Warframes out there which the design for was pretty crappy. I'm not too fascinated by Wisp's design, if I'm being entirely honest. And Hildren's design as well was a little bit on the flimsy side, but I don't know, like, I can't really judge. You can't judge a book by its cover, right? So it would be unfair of me to say that, oh yeah, this frame's gonna be bad based off its appearance, or oh yeah, I don't want to give this frame a chance because Cephalon Fragment, woo! I don't want to give this frame a chance because it looks too beefy or whatnot, you know. I'm so happy we find that, but not 2 more to go. 2 more to go. But yeah, I think it's unfair to judge a frame before it comes out, and I hate it whenever a person asks me, well, what do you think of this frame, whenever I can't play it yet, you know? I think that's a little bit ridiculous. But back to the scaling topic and how do you fix Warframe's endgame. They said that they're going to try out a new damage system with Railjack, and I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know if that means if it's successful with Railjack, they're going to stick to that and they're going to try to iterate it or weave it into the actual gameplay or what, but I don't know. I think that it would be a little bit dumb to sort of backpedal on such a big core system of your game this late into the development process, you know what I mean? Like, what we have right now is functional, albeit a little bit broken, but it can still make for an interesting challenge going deep into endgame, and it is also an interesting learning curve, right? So like, it would take a fucking Einstein to figure out, if you didn't use a wiki or you didn't use, you know, videos or whatnot, that like status chance on shotguns, if you get 100% before multi-shot, it's not divided between the pellets. Every single pellet is 100% status chance, where if you get 100% status chance with multi-shot, then it's divided between the pellets type of thing. Like, who the fuck sits down and figures that out? Definitely not me, that's for sure. You know, like, people have this perception of me that I'm this big math nerd. Like, no, I'm not this big math nerd. I got a D in math in my GCSEs. I suck at math. I can barely tell you, I don't know, anything related to math. I can tell the time, I can count money, you know, I can add, I can subtract, I can multiply. I can barely fucking divide off the top of my head. I can barely convert fractions and percentages and whatnot, you know. Like, it doesn't take a genius to play Warframe, you know. You just need to read a little bit, that type of thing. So I honestly don't know where the perception of Flynn math nerd came from, but apparently that's a thing, you know. It's like, where, what, why? One of my moderators, Bam, who I've been playing Warframe with, like, ever since I joined on PC. He's the math nerd, dude. He's the math nerd. Like, I can have one mod wrong in my builds, and it'll give me an in-depth analysis on why that mod is wrong and why this other mod is better. So, like, you build the Ignis Wraith for fire rate rather than, like, being or whatever, you know? Being, hunt munitions, gas, whatever the hell. It all depends, you know. That's my answer to every single question, build related or weapon build related or even just Warframe build related. It's like, oh, well, what's the best blah 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 build for blah blah blah? It's like, it depends, you know, because it does depend. But also, like, it's just the easy answer too, right? So next time your friend asks you what's the best weapon or what's the best build, just say it depends, and then, you know, you're not wrong in saying that. You're right, and then you seem like a smart ass because, like, you know, you're kind of alluding to the fact that you know more when really you're just like, well, you know, if you just Google it, you'll find out. You know, if you type in what is the best weapon versus infested, you know, it'll probably tell you what is the best weapon for a master rank 4. It'll probably tell you, because there's a lot of different options out there, man. Loads. But yeah, back to the scaling topic again. I hope that they just kind of stick to their guns, because I don't see them pushing out anything which everybody is going to be happy with in terms of the damage system and the scaling system and whatnot. I do think it sucks that there's a few mandatory things in the game, like cruiser projection and having to throw incineration and stuff like that, but I don't know, like, that stuff has been with us for such a long time. Is it worth swapping that stuff out? Like, is it worth investing all this time into changing up the damage system? Like, what potential could that open up in future for me, the player, right? Like, that's the question that you have to ask. Like, is this really going to change up Warframe? That's the big question, in my opinion. Like, if you rework this damage system, is that really going to change my enjoyment of the game, or will this still be, you know, what we have now? Is it still going to be this super casual grind game where, you know, you release a new piece of content and it's like, you're done in a few days, right? Is it still going to be that, or is changing that damage scaling system, is that going to enable you to really sit and focus on making content which would be worth, you know, a few hours of investment every single day type of thing? Is that what it's going to do for us, or what's the deal? Those are questions that I feel need answers to before I'm super on board with, oh yeah, let's just go ahead and rework the damage system again, you know? So that's kind of what floats around in my head. But the other part of, like, how do you fix endgame, because I believe that's what we started off this conversation with. How do you fix endgame? That also is in relation to the rewards as well, right? So for me, like, if I was to look at the current state of Warframe and I ask myself, well, what would incentivize me to stay longer in a defense mission, interception mission, excavation mission, survival mission, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, because that's the current end game, quote unquote, that we have. What could they do? What could they implement that would make it more appealing to me to survive for longer? And I would say probably adding in like a new rotation, right? So you get to the hour mark and then you go fucking D rotation or something, and then it's like DD, and then it moves on once you hit the 15-minute mark after an hour, right? So it keeps on going on. And then every single time that you survive for an hour, it maybe changes up the rewards or something. Or you could have like predetermined rewards. Like it could change up the rotation once you get to an hour, and then it just stays flat like that. So what you could do, or what kind of already is done, is the star chart is divided into tiers, right? So there's tier 1, there's tier 2, and there's tier 3. And what you could do is you could have different rewards at that hour mark for every single tier, right? So let's say the tier 1 planets on the map, which is Earth, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Phobos, and then I think whenever you get the Ceres, it changes. Maybe that's not true. Maybe it's Jupiter that it changes, but it's something like that. All the T1 planets, let's say you survive for an hour in a survival mission. Maybe that could drop a melee rhythm mod. Like maybe rotation D gives you the chance to get a melee rhythm mod, right? And also like a larger amount of endo, or a decent amount of kuva or something like that, or maybe a radiated relic, you know, stuff like that would incentivize me to survive for longer in endgame. Just giving out those rhythm mods in that fashion, I think it would be beneficial, because another big problem that a lot of people want tackled is the omega inflated rhythm prices, right? People don't think that rhythm mods should be the insane platinum price that they are, and I agree, but I also disagree, because there is some really wacky rules out there. I believe like the chance for you to get the perfect stats on a ribbon is like 1 in 20,000 or some shit. It's crazy like that. I don't know. That's just off the top of my head from something that I read once. Might not be completely true, but that's on my mind, and I'm just gonna say it in the video. But you see all these wacky ribbon prices, and part of the fact that the ribbon prices are very, very wacky is not everybody is getting those ribbon drops, right? Where do you get a ribbon to drop? You get a ribbon to drop from sorties. Well, do people log on and play sorties every single day? Probably not, right? Maybe most people have, like, maybe at best 3 days a week to play, right? So, oh, I can open up my lift relics. Where's that? Venus? Nope. No, thank you. I will continue playing my sabotage mission to get these dumb fragments. We got one so far. But, what was I saying? I forget what I was saying. That is not epic. I have really bad short-term memory loss. If you watch my stream once, you'll know. Like, if somebody could sub, and I'd be like, hey, yo, dude, thanks for subbing. And I'll read 2 messages, and I'll be like, did I thank this guy for subbing? Shit. Oh yeah, I was talking about ribbon prices. So yeah, ribbon prices are insane. People want the ribbon prices to go low because they don't think that a ribbon price should be over like 1,000 platinum, whatever. And not a lot of people play sorties every single day to get ribbons, so ribbons are in short supply. They're not like super omega rare, but if you pump more ribbons into the system, then obviously they're kind of going to decrease in value a little bit, right? So, of course, your insane ribbons are still going to have their insane wacky prices and whatnot, but whenever you throw more ribbons into the system, but this is also maybe not true, might not be true because we have the cap on how many ribbons we can hold, so that's another factor you have to take into consideration too, and that's not something that's easily changed because it's about network capacity. So that's something that D would have to invest money into to upgrade their servers and all that jazz. And that's more difficult than I just described it or made it out to be, right? But yeah, just pumping more ribbons into the system could theoretically, if done right, decrease the prices of maybe unveiled ribbons and whatnot. I don't know. Could do that. I might be talking up my ass. I'm no economist or anything like that. I have no idea. But I would very much survive an hour in a survival or go over 60 waves or stay for whatever amount of time in an interception or an excavation mission to get more ribbons so I can roll ribbons more. Especially if I was getting Kuva alongside that, you know? Like, you gotta remember that gameplay should always come first. So, like, if you're surviving for an hour, you should be able to get that type of stuff. The only place where that kind of becomes a little bit complicated is if you're giving away Kuva and whatnot to newer players, if they somehow happen to survive on IR, which is definitely possible, especially in the earlier Star Chart missions. But I don't know, like, I don't think it would be that big of a deal if you awarded Kuva to the new players, but at the same time, I can kind of see that people might think of that as kind of a spoiler. I don't know. But ribbons, endo, Kuva are things that I would want to see. Of course, in high supply. Maybe not ribbons in super high supply. Maybe make ribbons the rarer item. But having Kuva in pretty high scaling quantities, maybe every single IR that you survive, you get more and more Kuva. That would be cool. If you did something like that, then I can see myself staying for an IR, 60 plus waves, what have you, to get more of those sick resources, right? Or you can just, you know, continue to stay the casual right, and then maybe play a mission for an IR, and then hope that, I don't know, a couple rotations after that IR mark or whatever, or maybe even on the IR mark you get the thing that you want. I don't know, but of course you'd have to have other options for farming ribbons and higher quantities of Kuva, as well as kind of a balancing act for the casual players, right? So it's a very, very difficult thing to talk about because, like, you want to appeal to the people who are playing the bite-sized Warframe, right? The people who only have maybe half an hour a day to play. You want to appeal to those people, but you also want to appeal to the people who have been dedicated to the game and they want to play it for insane amounts of hours if they want to, right? But finding that balance is extremely difficult. So whoever at DE handles this stuff, don't know if you're ever going to see this video, but Good luck, have fun, my dude. Good luck, have fun. I just think that, you know, they should just reward players. Make the player feel as badass as possible. Because something that I noticed just while playing a game like Destiny, right? I'll tell you guys a story about my friends. My friend hates shooter looters, and that's kind of my fault because I introduced him to Warframe. But he absolutely hates these types of games. But the thing with it is I find it really, really interesting watching him play this type of game. Like, let's say something like Destiny 2, right? We play Destiny 2, and there's elements of it that he likes, and there's a lot of elements of it that he dislikes. What happens is it's coming to the conclusion where he more or less doesn't like the game, right? But we play something like Crucible in Destiny, and then he gets a fucking legendary out of nowhere. He's like, oh my god, dude, I did shit, but I got this legendary, whoa. And then he keeps on playing it a little bit just because he got this item, right? So, like, is that dopamine? Is it the dopamine? Yeah, I think that's the word. The dopamine hit of getting that rare item just kind of encouraged him to keep on playing. So, I don't know. Even if the item that you're giving away, you can make it out to be rare and powerful and whatnot, but, you know, maybe just make it common. I don't know. Something as simple as that can keep a person sticking around your game for a little bit longer. The other thing is, like, that I notice with people who dislike grinding games, so it's pretty funny. He doesn't like a game like, let's say, Warframe or Destiny, but he likes the likes of Grand Theft Auto Online. Grand Theft Auto Online, if you haven't played it, it's basically like just playing missions over and over again to farm money. But he doesn't care about that because it's the cool rewards that he's after, right? It's the rewards that are kind of keeping him playing in a sense. So, I don't know, I find it interesting that even if you don't like a game that much, or you don't like what you're doing, you would still stick around and do it anyway, just to get that shiny thing at the end. I guess you can kind of relate it to, you know, a full-time job. Like, you don't fucking want to be at the full-time job, but you know that if you work the full-time job, then you're going to get the food, right? You're going to get the food, you're going to get that car you wanted. If you just stick at it long enough, you're going to have that money saved up for a house. Shit like that. I don't know. You do you, dude, but that's kind of the sense of it. But video games shouldn't be jobs. We're getting into like a big pile of ethical game design talk and all that shit that I don't really want to deal with. I dropped out of my game design course for a reason. I thought it was boring. It's boring, but it's also interesting. Like, whenever it's in regards to a game that you enjoy, it's really, really interesting to sit and talk about. Like, for example, I could sit here and talk about the game design of Warframe or Rainbow Six Siege for hours because I love both of these games. But for both of those games, because, you know, I'm not actually showing any Rainbow Six Siege gameplay, but man, game design was boring as hell for me. But anyway, guys, I'll talk about that in the next episode. Thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you for watching. I know we only found one of those godforsaken Cephalon fragments, but hopefully we'll find two in the next episode. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.